everyone, Havocscaper here. Going to do another tank review. Today we're doing a tank review on the Warlord Panther. It's a Tier 7 Japanese medium premium tank, available in the store right now for console only. It's a console exclusive tank. It's currently available at the base package of 6,600 gold. I have to warn you guys right now while you're watching this tank review, if you decide that you like this tank, it's only going to be available in the store for the rest of tonight. It will not be there tomorrow. But in this tank review, what I'd like to do is give you guys information as far as the difference between the Warlord Panther and the standard German Tier 7 Panther in the tech tree. Also, I'm going to talk about the features of the tank as far as its strengths, its weaknesses. I'm going to give you my recommendations as far as equipment, crew skills, and consumables, so you can see what I think is best about the tank and how to play it. And at the end of the review, I'm going to tell you why I purchased the tank, why I think you should purchase the tank, or why I think you shouldn't purchase the tank. And I'm going to give you my overall opinion on whether or not it is a good buy. Okay, so as promised, we're going to start off by talking about the difference between this tank and the tech tree equivalent. For starters, I want to say, of course, the Warlord Panther is a preferential matchmaking premium tank, which means it will not see Tier 9 tanks. It is only going to get Tier 7 and Tier 8 matchmaking, which is really nice. It's one of the reasons that I purchased the tank, honestly. I'm going to go over right now the stats on the Warlord Panther versus the tech tree German Tier 7 Panther. Just keep in mind, though, that this is a pref matchmaking tank compared to the tech tree equivalent. I'm just going to flash the German tech tree stats after this, just so you can see that I'm not lying to you. But I'm just going to go down this list and tell you what's different, and then we'll go look at the other one real quick. Okay, so engine power is the same between the Warlord and the standard Panther. The rate of fire is higher on the Warlord. It's 12.5 on the German Panther. But the accuracy is also 0.32 on the German Panther, and here on the Warlord it's 0.35. So much like the Atomic Centurion, the last review I did, it's very similar. Once again, we have a higher rate of fire but less accuracy. I kind of call that a wash at the end of the day. Yes, you're firing more often, you can do more damage, higher DPM, and DPM is amazing. But at the same time, the accuracy does rear its head as far as, some of the longer shots are harder to hit, and you're going to be bouncing some shots that you probably wouldn't bounce if you had better accuracy. Penetration values are significantly different. The regular German Panther sees Tier 9 tanks, and this Warlord Panther does not. But I will say that the pen values are much higher on the tech tree equivalent, and the pen values are very low on this Warlord Panther, and it does cause issues. It does, especially when you get Tier 8 matchmaking. That 194 premium round pen is just, it really falls short when you're talking about shooting at Defenders and Fatherlands and IS-3s. It's really difficult. The traverse speed for both the tracks and the turret are higher on the Warlord, and they are lower on the standard German tech tree Panther. The turret armor value, the frontal turret armor value on the standard tech tree German Panther is 120, so it's 20 millimeters thicker, and the view range is also 10 meters higher on the German Panther. Okay, so as I promised, I'm just going to go over and show you those stats real quick. Panther. Okay, again, rate of fire is lower, accuracy is better, penetration values are much higher. As you can see, the standard round is 198. The premium round on the Warlord is 194, and that's APCR. This Panther has a AP round of 198. So the standard round is higher than the premium round of the Warlord. That's a significant difference in penetration. I understand that, as I stated, this tank will see Tier 9 tanks, and E75s and ST1s are really hard to penetrate. But with that being said, there's a huge difference in pens between these two guns. Traverse speed, tracks and turret are both slower. The armor is slightly better, and the view range is slightly better. And the reason I make a big point about talking about the difference between the tech tree equivalent and this Warlord Panther was because I purchased this tank in the thoughts that maybe this Warlord Panther's relationship to the tech tree Panther would be similar to the Panther 88's relationship with the Panther 2. I'm a huge Panther 88 fan. I love that premium tank. And the Panther 2 is an amazing Tier 8 medium tank. It really is. But the Panther 88 is a higher DPM and pref matchmaking. And I think that's one of the beauties behind the Panther 88. And I was hoping that would be the same thing with the Warlord Panther. Obviously, the Panther 88 has lower penetration values than the Panther 2. Panther 2 boasts some of the highest pen values out of Tier 8 mediums in the entire game. And that's again we see the same thing. The regular tier 7 Panther has much higher pen values than this Warlord Panther. I wouldn't say the Warlord Panther is as good as a Panther 88. No, I wouldn't say that. Only one of the biggest reasons why is because out of tier 7 pref tanks, the pref matchmaking tier 7s in World of Tanks on console are absolutely insane. And this tank just doesn't really compete with some of the competition it would have. And I'll get to that a little bit later in the video when I talk about why to not purchase this tank. Okay, as I promised, here we'll talk about equipment real quick. Rammer shouldn't really need explanation. Obviously, I'm saying GLD because there is no vertical stabilizer. This is a tier 7 tank. If there was vertical stabilizer available, I would definitely take that over GLD any day. But since there's not, I'm going to go with the poor man's vertical stabilizer, which is the GLD. So we're doing rammer, GLD. I went with vents over optics. You could make a great case for optics. You only have 370 meters of view range. As I said, that's 10 meters less than the German Panther. But the way I'm decided to play this tank is more of a medium range kind of sniper support tank. I'm not going to really be frontlining because the armor just isn't really there on this tank. And the camo value wasn't that great. And I really don't want to be the first thing that gets focused down in this tank. I feel like the bonus on this tank, the big thing versus the German Panther, is the fact that it has that higher rate of fire. So I'm going to kind of stick with that. I think I did the same thing. I did do the same thing with the Atomic Centurion. The same concept of I'm going to be support tank and just lay down like incredible suppressing fire and just tear people up with my DPM. And that's what I decided to do with this tank as well. So that's why I did that equipment loadout. Here's my consumable loadout. As I stated, guys, the AP rounds, the penetration values on this tank can really be frustrating at times, especially since you have that. Oh, I just changed this back. So, especially since you have that. The penetration along with that .35 accuracy instead of having that .32 accuracy that you get from the German Panther, it really, the gun can be very frustrating at times, which is why I'm also going to recommend gun skills very soon on in your crew skills maturation of this with this tank. The AP rounds, you look at that the penetration values. Obviously, we all know RNG, the damage values can roll high or roll low. Well, so can the penetration values, right? And the low roll penetration value is 113 millimeters of penetration. And I found that to be really horrible. I mean, it can just bounce off of anything. I mean, these standard rounds are great when you're top tier in a tier 7 game and you have tier 5s and tier 6s on the other team that you can be shooting at. These standard rounds will work great, usually. But that 113 millimeters of penetration, you know, the low rolls of this pen can be devastating. I mean, you can bounce all over tier 6 tanks, really. You can bounce off tier 5 tanks, you know, KV1s and stuff, no problem. So, especially when you start talking about tier 7s, I mean, the most likely tier 7s to see would be like, what, T29s and Tigers. You know, they put a slight angle on their armor, and you roll low with penetration values, and you're going to bounce all over them. If you get into a tier 8 game, you're going to be almost exclusively firing premium. Like as I said, when you run into IS-3s, defenders, it's a nightmare. It really is, especially from the front. It's almost impossible. You can have difficulties just penning them from the side sometimes, especially if you're too far away. So I carry, you know, this tank can carry 80 plus as far as shells go. I really find very little to no value for the HE, but when you have 80, you know, over 80 shells on board, I feel like you should have a handful of everything, just because you might find a situation where you need to reset cap or something like that, and you want to hit HE. But I just don't use it with this tank. I really don't. I mean, the AP pen is so bad, it's like firing HE at times. Yeah, so I don't carry a lot of HE. This is the loadout I went with as far as AP to premium rounds, as I said. And when you're in tier 8 games, you're going to be firing almost exclusively premium. That's how bad it is. This setup I went with, I didn't go with fire extinguisher at times. I played with all of this. I played with the ammo setup, and I played with the consumable setup a lot while I was going down my road to 3-marking this tank, and I've done all different lineups. This is probably what I would recommend as far as the consumables, as far as no fire extinguisher, because I'm using my STB1 crew, and the STB1 has an incredibly low rate of fire, and so that's why this crew is set up to run without a fire extinguisher. Probably not the best idea for the Warlord Panther, but it just made sense. I wasn't going to change this crew around a lot because I'm playing the STB1 a lot lately. Ever since I 3-marked it, I really enjoy playing the tank now. I don't know why, but I do. And I wasn't going to mess with the crew, so I'm going to leave the same crew, so I have the same configuration, line up with no fire extinguisher on the Warlord as I do on the STB1. Okay, so that's equipment, that's consumables, and that's crew skills. Crew skills, guys, like I said, the gun handling can be annoying at times. I would definitely move towards gun skills. Obviously, I would do snapshot over smooth ride first. The clutch braking, stuff like that, like the tank doesn't turn so hot, so clutch braking would be a good one. I mean, obviously you're going to want repairs. I didn't really use this as a spotter, so not as critical that I have, view range skills, although I do have them on there. But again, this is my STB1 crew, so this crew is set up to play on the STB1. I would say for me, the way I played this tank, besides Sixth Sense, Brothers in Arms, I would probably go right into Snapshot and then Smooth Ride. I would just go into gun skills. That's it. I mean, just playing this thing as a medium support tank, you're not really too focused on spotting. You're not too focused on camo values. Like I said, the clutch braking would be nice because this tank does not turn so great. And obviously you want repairs, because getting tracked a lot and then trying to get out of situations, you don't want to be sitting there tracked all day. Not having repairs is really, really painful. So that's how I would do it. I would kind of focus towards gun skills and maybe repairs and clutch braking. All right. Now, when I was speaking to you earlier about why to purchase this tank, I told you guys I felt like this tank would have would be something similar to a Panther 88. I didn't feel like that was really the case, but one of the things that I wanted to point out about this tank is that it's a Tier 7 pref matchmaking tank. Some of the most broken tanks in the game, especially on console, are Tier 7 pref matchmaking tanks. Like, we're talking about the Tiger 131 and the E25. I don't know if you guys haven't played those tanks. They're the most broken tanks in the game. They are literally in my top 3 most broken tanks in the game. And then you have a tank like the Warlord Panther, which is a good tank, but nowhere near the brokenness that we have with the Tiger 131 and the E25. And then there's actually a tank that you could buy right now in the German tech tree that is a better tank than the Warlord Panther, and it's a medium. They're almost identical tanks. I'm talking about the Champion, the Panther M10. Most of us have the Champion, or we did. I don't know about you, but I sold this tank, and I just bought it back recently because my friend JV Puerto Rico pointed out to me, hey, have you seen the recent buffs that they made to the Champion? I said, no, I sold that thing a long time ago. He said, you really should get it back and check it out. So he ran it down to me, ran the numbers, and I went and took a look, and here are the numbers, guys. This tank, in my opinion, is superior to the Warlord right now. It's got a lower engine power, yes. It does have a lower power to weight ratio, but that's about it. Because if you look at the rate of fire, it's the same. The gun is the same. This is the same gun, except notice that the accuracy is 0.32. And as I stated to you guys, the accuracy being 0.35 in the Warlord Panther can really, really be frustrating at times. And now here we have a tank that has the same rate of fire. So the Warlord Panther isn't even the king of DPM. You have a tank that has the same rate of fire, but it has that German Tier 7 tech tree accuracy at 0.32. This is just a flat-out better gun. Then you look at the traverse speed, higher traverse speed, both tracks and turret. So it's more maneuverable tank. Same turret armor, 5 meters less view range, okay, which is negligible amount that doesn't really matter, because neither of these tanks are spotters, in my opinion. So you have the Champion Panther M10, which is just a better, flat-out better gun. As I stated, the Warlord Panther does have a better, I'll show you. It has a better power to weight ratio. It's 19.97 on the Warlord, and it's 15.23. Same top speed. So the tanks move the same speed. This takes a little bit sluggish. They have the same track resistance values. But as I said, this tank is more maneuverable as far as traversing goes. It just doesn't have quite the same power to weight ratio, but it has a better gun. And then here's the next part, guys. This tank is surrounded now by spaced armor. There's spaced armor all around the tank. That wasn't there before. Honestly, the Panther M10 wasn't a terrible tank, even though it was noted as being one of the worst premium tanks in the game. One of the things that was the worst about it was the gun, and they've severely buffed this gun. Now this gun is better. I said it's better than the Warlord Panther. It's probably the best medium tank gun in the game at Tier 7 for a premium. And the value is like, okay, so you have 100 meters of turret armor, just like you do with the. I feel like this is a smaller target. This tank is a much smaller target. I know you don't see it in the concealment values, like the camo values are the same between the Warlord Panther and the Panther M10, but I feel like this is a harder target to hit. You have the same upper plate values, so the turret and the upper plate values are the same for armor. But as I said, this whole tank is just surrounded with spaced armor as well. So I think the tank just plays better as far as armor-wise. Yeah, there's a little bit of armor versus, maneuverability, I guess. The Warlord has that better power-to-weight ratio. And then the champion or the Panther M10 has the better armor scheme, in my opinion. But then, as I stated, it has the .32 accuracy, and there's more stats to it than that too. It also has a better firing on the move stats. The Warlord has a better rotational turret stats, gun handling wise. But at the end of the day, this tank has the better accuracy, and it's just a better gun. So the champion tank is a better gun, more armor, little less maneuverability than the Warlord Panther. And as you can see, I'll show you guys on the tech tree right now. This is not on sale or anything. The Panther M10 is available for $57.50. Right now, the Warlord is available for $6,600 on the base package. This thing isn't even on sale. Imagine if the Panther M10 was on sale right now. And most of you had the champion at one point or another. This is a reward tank from 2017's Tank Bowl. I had this tank. Everyone I know had this tank. I sold it because the gun was absolutely terrible before they buffed it, and now it's amazing. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, why would you buy a Warlord when you could buy the Panther M10? Or better yet, you could probably just put in a ticket with Wargaming and get it back if you already had it, because most of us had it because everyone knew that Russia was going to win the Tank Bowl. And or was it Russia or was it Germany? I don't remember. Anyway, the point being is most of us have the champion or had it at one time. You can get it back, or if you don't have it and you want it, you can just go purchase it for a significantly lower price than the Warlord Panther. So at the end of the day, here's the question I ask you. When you say, well, should I buy the Warlord Panther, yes or no? It's not amongst the tops of the tier 7 matchmaking premium tanks in the game. It's nowhere near the top. It doesn't have anything to do with a Tiger 131, an E25, or even the Panther M10 for that matter. You could purchase a better medium pref matchmaking tier 7 right now in the tech tree at any moment, and it's a better tank in my opinion than this tank. And now that's not even on sale. That's just every day. So this tank is going to leave the store here in a couple hours, and at any point you could go purchase a Panther M10. Or most of us, as I stated, could just buy back or put in a ticket and get your champion back if you had it. And then, so why else would you purchase this tank? I guess because it's a Japanese premium. That would be only. Well, I have Japanese crews. I want to train them up, so I need a good Japanese premium tank. If you need a good Japanese premium tank, the Warlord's not bad, but it's by far not the best Japanese premium tank in the game. I mean, I can show you right now, there's much better Japanese premium. The SDA2 is one of the kings of premium tanks in the game, especially when you're talking about pref matchmaking premium tanks in the game. This is the gold standard pref matchmaking premium tank in this game. SDA2 is OP. Everyone knows it. So if you want a Japanese crew trainer, this is the tank to train your crews with. And I haven't even played it that much on this account. Or you could get the Senshi, which is just a hero skin version of the same tank. But the Senshi, the SDA2, these are very strong Japanese premium tanks. And then you're talking about the Edelweiss, one of my favorite tanks in the game. And this is also another Japanese premium tank. I don't even have the Nameless, but everyone I know who has the Nameless loves it. So, I mean, the Edelweiss, the SDA2, the Nameless, those are three great Japanese premium tanks that are may not be available right now, but I'm still stating that these are tanks that you would want to buy if you need a Japanese premium tank. So again, Warlord is really kind of stuck in my opinion. It's not the best it's definitely not the best Japanese premium tank in the game. It's definitely nowhere near the top of the tier 7 pref matchmaking premium tanks in the game. So at the end of the day, when you ask yourself, well, why should I purchase this tank? Because you think the paint job is cool? That's what I'm left with. It's got a cool looking paint job. It's black and yellow, black and yellow. I don't know why the marks go at the end of the barrel instead of closer to the turret. All I can say is that I have a couple black tanks that they sold 2 years ago, and all the black tanks for some reason have the marks go to the end of barrel by the instead of closer to the turret. I think it looks pretty stupid, honestly, and maybe it would have been cool if the marks had been like gold hatchets instead of red hatchets. I don't know. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you're going to purchase this tank, it's probably because you think it looks cool. That's about it. It's not the best Japanese premium tank, and it's not the best Tier 7 Pref Matchmaking premium tank. So it excels at really nothing in those respects. It's just a cool-looking tank. All right, guys, I have some gameplay coming for you. 3 good clips, and that's about it. If you have any questions, post them in the bottom of the video. I will post the start of the gameplay at the bottom of the video, so everybody can just like skip to that if you want. And then you won't have to listen to me babble about this mediocre tank. All right, guys, thanks a lot. See you later. See you on the battlefield.
敵を発見した。敵に見つかったようだぞ。命中を確認。射撃目標確認。効いてるぞ。射撃用意完了。
make the ground shake.